Okay, Hannah, I'm going to give you the proper introduction. So actually, Hannah,
don't have to.
let's hear you. Let's hear if we can hear it properly.
Can you hear me?
Can you make it a little louder? And I'm going to introduce you.
Okay, sure.
Yeah. Okay, so Hannah Nussbaum, originally from Brooklyn, New York, where she taught high school for many years, now lives in Lakewood, New Jersey. There, she alternated between continuing her teaching career, art and dance instructor, co-founding and directing Yad Rachel, an organization geared towards helping postpartum women, and Aura Toramates coordinator, while raising her beautiful family became her top priority. Now that they are, Baruch Hashem, all grown with most of her grandchildren living in Eretz Yisrael, she is devoted to what she believes is her mission, empowering women and girls with Pnimius HaTorah, which will Bezrat Hashem open the doors to their exquisite potential, realizing their own unique light and sharing it with the world. This vision is what the Sfarim call Keter Melucha, or the circle dance. May we merit to manifest this speedily. I feel very, very honored and privileged to introduce you to Hannah. Hannah, go ahead. I'm going to put myself off.
Naomi, before you put yourself off, till what time do I have?
You have 30 minutes.
Okay, so I have so much material and I've been sitting and trying to figure out which parts are the most important that have now to do with Yom Kippur, and I'm going to try to squash it in. But first, I just have to say that I'm so tremendously honored and humbled to be here. This is such an unbelievably beautiful group, and Naomi, you've started something enormous. May bring Mashiach quickly. And I personally have a Hashgacha Prata story about Nishmas.
Anna, can you make it a little bit louder? Or could you go closer to your microphone?
Okay, I'm going to try to do that. I'm going to try to do both. I just don't want to be too loud. Is this okay?
Yeah, yes.
Okay. So I personally, for many years, I've been saying to Hashem, if you do this for me, I'm going to get together a group of 10 women to say Nishmas. And Hashem, if you do this for me, I'm going to do the, and I kept saying, I'm going to say Nishmas, I'm going to say Nishmas. And I said, where do you think you're getting a group to say Nishmas? And one day, Rena Perkel from my elevation group, we did the elevation teacher training group by Rev Daniel Katz, and I'm speaking to Rena about something on the phone, and she says, you know, Hannah, you should really come join our Nishmat group. And I said, what's that? And she said, yeah, we get together every single morning. And I said, I don't believe it. It's like Hashem brought the Nishmat group to me. He said, I know you kept saying you're going to say Nishmat, you're going to say Nishmat. You have no idea where you're going to find that. So I'm bringing it to you. Here it is. And I'm very tremendously grateful to all of you for it. And I guess I should really start very quickly. Okay, so I don't know if you can see this. I'm going to try to put this here for, this is an oil painting that I did with my high school students about 10 years ago. I don't know if you could see this clearly. I'm hoping that you can. Could someone unmute and just tell me if you see it and what you see?
Yeah, we see it. We see it.
What is it that you're seeing?
Beis Hamikdash.
Beis Hamikdash.
Okay, besides the Beis Hamikdash, could you look again? Look deeper.
The letter P.
Yes, there's a letter P. And what letter is inside the letter P?
Bet.
It's a bet. In the Sefer Torah, the way the pet is formed, the shape of the pet in the Sefer Torah, in the actual Sefer Torah, it forms a white bet on the inside. Now, I did this with my students for Mishmeret. This was for Shmirat HaLashon. And we talked about how if you form the peh, the mouth, properly, then automatically we're building the Bet HaMikdash. We were doing painting, that was our theme, and we did that by guarding our palate, we're drawing closer. So when you draw the peh properly, when you draw the mouth correctly with the correct Shmirat HaLashon, then automatically we are building the Bet HaMikdash. But what I want to share with you today that I didn't tell them about is that there are many, many deeper levels about this. And we're going to tie this into Yom Kippur, and we're going to see how this has to do with that. I'll pick this up later. My hand's getting tired, and we're going to start. So firstly, I'd like to start with a tefillah that al-pi the Pnimiut HaTorah, according to Kabbalah, when the men do a lot of mitzvot, maybe some of you also do it. I know I try to do it by certain mitzvot, like by, we have it right there very clearly in the Machzer, when we say the tefillah for the lulav and the esrog. There's a beautiful tefillah that explains what we're about to do. And it's putting the kavanah, it's putting the intention in the proper place of what we're going to be, the mitzvah that we're going to be doing. Why are we doing it? What are we trying to accomplish? So we say l'shem, it's in the name of, meaning we're doing this for the sake of, in the name of, yichud, to unite, Kutchabricho, the Zachar, the male, masculine aspect of Hashem, with Shchinte, and the feminine aspect of Hashem, B'tchilu, in awe, Urechimu, and in love, Liyachid Shem Yud Hey, Bevav Hey, in order to unify the name of Hashem, the Yud Hey and the Vav Hey, they should come together and form Hashem's name complete. B'yichud Ashlim means in complete fusion. B'shem Kol Yisrael, in the name of Hashem, in the name of all of Israel, in the name of all of us. So I want to start with this because this is our intention. And the whole lesson is really about this pasuk, which you're going to see. So I'm going to say it for all of us. L'shem yichud kudsha brichu u'shchinte b'tchilu u'rechimu liyachet shem yud hey bevav hey b'yichud hashlim b'shem kol Yisrael. Okay, now before we get to Yom Kippur, I want to start first with Rosh Hashanah. We need a little bit of a background. I'm sorry if I'm going to talk too fast now, but I'm going to cram everything in. Rosh Hashanah is the day that Adam was created. It's not Yom Rishon, the first day of creation, right? We know that it's Yom, I'm sorry if a lot of you know all this. I know that a lot of you are taking a lot of these courses that are Pnimiut HaTorah. Some of you may not, so I'm sorry for those of you who know this already. But Rosh Hashanah is the day that Adam was created, not the first day of creation. It's Yom Shishi, actually, Friday. And the reason for this is because Adam is the purpose of the world. Hashem was showing us very clearly the whole entire purpose of the world is for Adam. And actually in Tishrei, which is now, it's not really when Hashem physically made the world, it's b'machshava, in his intention. In his thoughts, he created the world now. It's only later on in Nisan, 6 months later, where the actual Asiyah happened. So the intention was very, very clear. The intention is for Adam. Why? So we are going to see three things that happen on Rosh Hashanah, and I'm going to tie this in into Yom Kippur and what this is all about, the returning that I call this. The first thing we know about Rosh Hashanah is that Adam was created. It was an androgynous being. That means Zachar and Nekeva together, male and female, as one being. The second thing we know about it, according to the Arizal, is that there was also the Nesira happened, the Netira happened at that time, where Hashem separated Adam and Chava in order that they should be able to come around. We call that the surgical uncoupling, according to Sari Yehuda Schneider. The surgical uncoupling, the uncoupling of this couple that was together, Hashem separated it, that they should be able to come towards each other. And the third thing we know is that there was an Or Ein Sof, a light that had no end. Or Ein Sof is what Hashem himself has called, the light that is endless. And this Or Ein Sof was shining from one end of the world to the other for 36 hours. It was only when Adam and Chava sinned that Hashem took away this light and he hid it. It's now called the Ar Haganas, the light that's hidden. So those are the three things that are important to keep in mind now. Now, there's a very, very interesting lashon, a very interesting wording that Hashem says when he makes man. He says, Na'aseh Adam b'tzalmeinu. Nasa, let us make man, b'tzalmeinu, in our image. Now, who's Hashem talking to? So according to the, according to the regular Mefarshim, it says that Hashem's talking to the Malachim. But according to the Pnimiyat Torah, according to Kabbalah, Hashem is now already in the position where, just like he has separated Adam, he's already separated the male-female aspects of himself. And Nase Adam is them having a conversation. Nase Adam, we will make man b'tzalmeinu, in our image. Just like we are, that's how we're going to make man. So let's look at man, and that's how we'll see what Hashem is. Just like man was Zachar and Nekeva together, and then Hashem separated it and made two separate beings, male, female. That's made b'tzalmeinu, in our image. What's the our image? The our image is the same. Hashem has the Zachar and Nekeva aspects. We know Ein Od Milvado, there is nothing but Hashem, and Hashem was filling up the entire. There was no even world. Like, we can't even say Hashem was filling the world, because before Hashem became creator, he wasn't creator. We only know him as creator. We have no hasaga, what he was like before. It's like if you take a CD, a disc, and you put it into the computer, the disc can only read the program that's on that disc. It has no idea. It cannot fathom what the computer itself is all about. So we only know Hashem as creator from when he started creating us. We have no idea what he was before. We do know that it was one being. Hashem started creation. This is the separation. Just like Hashem separated the male and female parts of Adam, and now they're separate. The same way Kadosh Baruch Hu himself also, when he began this world of creation, he retracted himself. He contracted himself. He pulled himself in. The word that's used in Kabbalah is tzimtzum. He was mitzamtzem himself. He contracted himself and created a void, a vacuum. This void, a vacuum, is called the halal. The halal is a void. And this halal is where this light of Hashem is hidden. This is the female part that we call Shechina. This is the part that's hidden from, the light is really there, but it's in a hidden form. So halal is this void that now needs to be filled. And the world itself, olam, comes from the word ne'elam, hidden. Everything is hidden. Hashem is hidden, and what we have to do, Hashem gave us this job, is to now fill that up. Now, I'm going to go back for a second to that Or Ein Sof. When Hashem contracted that light, it was because Adam and Chava sinned. Now, before Adam and Chava sinned, their entire body was transparent. You could see straight through to their neshama. And their neshama shone very, very bright and beautiful, like a diamond, with all the different colors, all the different facets coming through. And it went through all the different layers of their being, intellectually, psychologically, emotionally, hormonally, physically. In every single layer, this light shone through. So that their outer being shone very bright and beautiful. It says that Chava was very, very beautiful. The Sarah Imenu was beautiful, but as beautiful as she was, Chava was so much more beautiful that Sarah looked like a monkey compared to her. So you have this very beautiful thing, but it's all reflections, just reflections, reflections, reflections of that inner core. I like to think of it as an onion. I like to, I'm used to my high school girls, we're very visual. So when you look at the onion, you see there's a core, and then you have layers and layers and layers, right? So that core is the neshama, and it's shown through all the different layers till the outside. When Adam and Chava sinned, what happened is that this R that's spelled with an aleph, this light, changed to an R with an ayin. R means skin. And the skin is opaque. And it actually blinds us from seeing the true self, the inside, right? It's the same word, ayin vav resh, which is R. The skin is the same as Iver, blind man, because we're blinded to what's the true self. We now see the outside and we get caught up in the outside. And instead of being able to penetrate through, we don't see the neshama shining. So right now, at least after the sin, we have now two jobs. One is that we have to fill ourselves with what's missing, which is this neshama. We have to bring out the neshama that's hidden. It's not there, it's there, but it's in a hidden form. And it's our job to bring that up, this kol d'mama daka, the small, still voice that Sarah Yehuda Schneider speaks about, those of you who listen to her, the still small voice inside of us that we have to get to, and from there expand it outward. And the same thing is true of the world itself. Hashem gave us the job of filling ourselves with the Shekhinah and the world with the Shekhinah. Where did Hashem hide that light? This are Haganas that's hidden. Hashem hid it in the Neros of Hanukkah. He hid it in the Osiyot of the Torah. There's hidden light in the Torah. It's for another time. It's a whole different discussion, a very deep level of that picture that I showed you of the pay with the bet inside, of the letters themselves not being empty. There's no such thing as emptiness. There's light there that we have to find. It's the or that we have to find. And the third thing is in us. Hashem put that or inside of us, and now we have to bring that or out. Now we know Vasul, it says Vasuli mikdash v'shachanti b'tocham, right? Vasuli mikdash v'shachanti b'socham. Hashem says, you make yourself into a mikdash. You have to become that mikdash and fill yourself up with the Shekhinah. So how do we do that? How do we do that? We have to remember what Naomi had said, Ein od milvado, there is nothing besides Hashem. And those of you who are into meditation, I hate using that word meditation. The Geisha world is into meditation where they have a mindfulness. You try to get to a place of quiet and you just quiet the mind. And by them, that's already the end story. That's already the goal. We know that we quiet our minds just as a means towards a goal. The goal is not to have just an empty space, because an empty space is a dangerous place. I'm going to talk about that in a second. We don't want that empty space. We want to fill that empty space. So I try to, what I do, what I know works for me, and I've done this with other people in this so-called meditation. I don't like to use that word, hitbodedut, in our groups with Rabbi Katz, and they found that very powerful, is imagining this onion that I told you about. If you imagine that you're connected on top, because you really, really are, we're really down here. We're this dat tachton. We're in our dat tachton. We're in our lower version where we know of the ani. The ani is usually interpreted with the ego. That's the lower self. But we're really, really our higher self. We have a dat elyon, that chelek elokai mimal, that piece of Hashem that's up there. It's right on top of us. And it's that piece of Hashem that's the neshama. And we're really always connected, but we have to bring it out. It's in that concealed place, and we have to reveal it. When we remember that we are really our upper self, our true self, which is not really ani, it's really part of ayin. Hashem is called ayin, like that or ein sof. Ayin means nothingness. Hashem is that nothingness. It's a whole deep discussion that we don't have time for now, but the ani twisted around. Aleph nun yud becomes aleph yud nun, just scrambled around. We have to take the ani that we are down here, the dat tachton, and remember that we are really not that, and we return. We return. We're not returning to a past place. We're returning to our higher self, and we go to an even higher place. There's something that I want to get back to that's very crucial, and I'll get back to it in a minute, but I first want to bring this point out, that the one who created he crafted all the kalim in the Mishkan, right? Mishkan is where Hashem rested, where he dwelt, and that has the word Shekhinah. The one who crafted it, his name was Betzalel. And Betzalel made all those kalim, all those vessels. One was for the intellect, to represent the intellect. One was to represent the emotions. One was to represent the physical. and of course the Aron, the spiritual, right? All these different things that that Bezalel made, we can be Bezalel too. I'm going to go back to that onion again, the Batzel Kel. Bezalel is Batzel Kel, Hashem's onion. When we align ourselves with our higher self and bring ourselves into that place where we become a Mishkan, we become the place for the Shekhinah to rest. And from there, we ourselves change ourselves, because everything is a ripple effect for all these onion layers, right? Once the core is aligned, then the intellectual part, the intellect kicks in. It reflects the core, just like Adam and Chava's neshama really reflected outwards through all those layers. When we're connected to Hashem the proper way, and we're connected to our Dat Elyon, to our Chelik Elokaim Mimal, our neshama, which is the piece of Hashem, then intellectually it reflects, and then it goes on psychologically and emotionally and physically, and everything just becomes a reflection of that spirituality. Then we're becoming our own Bezalel, crafting our own Kalim in our own Beit HaMikdash. And by the Aron, it says, Hashem told Bezalel, he said that you should make it gold, the gold layer, babayit ubachutz. Babayit means inside, ubachutz and outside. The Aron, which is that spiritual layer, it had a golden part, babayit, inside, and then bachutz, outside. So first you make the inside gold. You first connect in that very precious place where it's babayit, where you're on the inside, like that picture I showed you, the babayit, you come to the bayit, to the inside, which we know is really, that is also Bina. We women are very, very connected to this. Women are born with Bina. The men acquire it later on, but we're born with that Bina. This is this bayit that has to be formed first on the inside. And we women especially relate to this because we need everything integrated. Men are more fragmented and we need everything integrated. We need to have that spirituality and we need to have the emotions in order for us to be happy with and ready for the physical. I'm taking this from Reb Shlomo Wolbe Zatzal. He wrote this in his Sefer, that women, when we have the emotional bond we need and when we have the spiritual bond that we need, then we want the physical, because by us, it has to be one whole thing, like that onion. It's not empty kalim. If you cut off the top, you cut off the bottom, I don't know if this is halacha, I think it's only a minhag, but we certainly have that minhag, that if you cut off the top of the onion and you cut off the bottom and you're left with just the inside layers, we can only use it that day, we cannot use it the next day. It becomes like klipa. Klipa means husk. It's like the outside shell that's worth nothing. When you take Hashem out of the picture, then you're left with that empty space. You need Hashem in the picture in order for it to be able to be real. When it's connected with reality, Hashem's the only reality. As soon as you cut it off from the top, as soon as you cut Hashem out of the picture, then it's just empty layers. So with my high school girls, we did this whole tzniut yomiyon. I actually didn't use the word tzniut, but we talked about the difference between a bubble and a pearl. They're both beautiful on the outside, but the pearl is cultivated from inside. There's a tiny little germ of the sand inside, and then it cultures outward, slowly, slowly. It cultures outward, until that outside, until the outside of the pearl is this exquisite thing. Now you have a bubble that has that same beautiful luster, that same beautiful iridescent beauty, but there's emptiness inside. And that's the difference between if we are aligned with our higher self, with Hashem, or if we take Hashem out of the picture. It says that the third Beit HaMikdash is going to be even more beautiful than the first one, but it's also going to have more Kedusha. So you see, this is not a stiva, it's not a contradiction, beauty with Kedusha. It's just that if we're aligned with the Kedusha and everything falls into place, then the beauty is beautiful. Like when Hashem made Chava, beautiful. Now, you could think, okay, if we don't fill it up, so it's just empty space. But we learned from the Chumash that there is no such thing as empty space. when the brothers, when Yosef Hatzadik's brothers put him into the pit, back in Chumash Bereshit, they put him into the pit. The words that are used are very interesting. It says, Vehabor reik, the pit was empty, ein bo mayim, it had no water. So Rashi has a question. I mean, he doesn't ask the question, he just gives the answer, but he obviously has a question. And the question is, if it says Vahabor reik, it was empty, then the Torah doesn't have to give us extra words. We know the Torah never gives extra words. So what are those words? Ein bo mayim, it had no water. You already told us that Vahabor reik, that it was empty. Why do you have to add on that it didn't have water? And Rashi gives us the answer. He says it was empty of water, but there were snakes and scorpions in there. In other words, there is no such thing as empty space. We're either going to fill it with Kedusha, and that's called making a Kiddush Hashem, or we're leaving it empty, a Halal. Halal is that empty void, that vacuum is called a Halal. That's already Chilul Hashem. That's already Chilul Hashem, because it doesn't stay empty. If we're not filling it with Hashem, it's going to end up turning to the klipot. It's going to end up turning to the husks, to the klipot, to the sitra acher. He's going to get hold of it. And we know that every 60 years, a new light comes down. Hashem brings down a new light. Again, this is according to, I can't even just say, Pnimiut HaTorah is Hasidut, because the Vilna Gaon says this, and he was not Hasidish at all. This is not a Hasidish thing. This is just a Pnimiut HaTorah, that they say that every 60 years, another light comes down. And if we are Zocha, if we are returned, if we are turned in the right direction, then that beautiful light we have access to. But if chas v'shalom we're not, and we left that space empty as a halal, and we made chilul Hashem, and it's not full of kiddush Hashem, of kedusha, of shechina, if we didn't fill it with shechina, then the Goyim, the sitra acher, is able to access that. And then we have warped versions, we have very, very warped versions of that light coming down. And I'm going to give you an example to that right now, because I'm going to take you back to what we said before, that Hashem separated his kaviyachol, the feminine and masculine parts of himself, and Hashem separated Adam, the masculine and feminine parts of Adam, right? What was the purpose of that? What was the purpose of this separation? There was a big reason for that separation. And I'm just looking for my paper where I wrote this. Okay, looks like I don't have it with me, but I know this, this part. Okay, that the separation was for the purpose of, we have to understand that we were first back to back. We are not returning. When we say tshuva means returning, we're not returning to where we were. We're going to a better place. Hashem shows us we were first back to back, and back to back means that each one had their own light, but there was no vessel to receive it. We were not in a giving position. Adam and Chava back to back cannot give to each other. They're not able to see each other. They're not able to appreciate each other. They can only appreciate their own light. So Hashem made a separation in order for us to be able to come back together face to face. This returning, when we return and we're returning to Hashem, we're actually coming then face to face with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's the coming together. And Hashem does something unbelievable. He does something unbelievable. He puts himself into a vulnerable position. He pulled himself out to make room for us so that we can become givers as well. He wants us to be the keli. He wants us to be the vessel to receive his light. That's step one, and that's called malchut. But he wants us to even go further. He wants us to connect to him, with him in such a strong way that we also become givers to him. When we're mamlechim, when we make him melech, we ourselves have become now the givers, giving to HaKadosh Baruch Hu as well. And it's in that place where we're coming mostly face to face. We give to Hashem, Hashem gives to us. And there's this union where we started off saying, L'shem yichud kutchabrichu shchente, that Hashem is bringing together. I'm sorry, not Hashem is bringing together. He's asking us that we should bring together. He's giving us the power to bring together the Kutcha Brichu and the Shchinte. We actually are a part of the Shchinte. We're a spark. Each one of us has a part of that Shchinte. We're each a part of the Shechina. And the Shechina is called the Kala, Hashem is called the Chatan, the Chasen. And we, the Kala, have to come up to Hashem. It's called Hitaruta Dilsata, right? An awakening from below. Hashem says, I'm waiting for you to come up. You, the Kala, you come up to me. I want you to come meet me. Lo avo at shevo. I'm not going to come until you come. Lo avo at shevo means I'm not going to come until I come. But the Medrash brings what that means is lo avo b'Yerushalayim shalmala. I'm not going to come up to the Yerushalayim shalmala to build the Bet HaMikdash. I'm not going to like manifest this Yerushalayim shalmala at shevo until you come and bring up the Yerushalayim Shalmata. We have to make that Yerushalayim Shalmata. Who's the we? Every single one of us, because that Kala, the Kala was divided into each one of us. We're each a spark. And it's not enough if some people are in touch. Every single one of us has to come back to our part. We each have a spark, and nobody could do what you need to do. The Kotzker Rebbe says that every single person has a part of that R, of the R Haganas, this R that's hidden, is hidden inside each one of us. You have an R that only you can shine out. Nobody can shine your part out. And it's not just nice for you to do it. You are mechuyav, you are responsible to share your R. You're responsible to share your part, and that's you being the Kala, that's you coming up towards the Chatan, you're coming face to face. And every single year, we have this Nisira, this Nitira, this surgical uncoupling, where Hashem separates in order for us to come back around again. It's not just that it happened on Rosh Hashanah, it's every single year on Rosh Hashanah that it happens again and again. And each year, we're getting to know Hashem more and more. The whole point of face-to-face is that we get to know each other. Hashem gets to know us, we get to know Hashem. And Hashem's seal we know is emes, is truth. So we get to know a little bit more of his truth. The more we get to know him, vayeda, you know, that's intimacy. Right? In the Torah, whenever it says vayeda as ishto, he knew his wife, that's what intimacy is. When you know. And every single year, Hashem does this uncoupling on Rosh Hashanah. Yom Kippur is the time for us to come around and say, we're starting now to come to this face-to-face place where we're going to try to bring Hashem into our life more, put him into every single layer of this onion, bring him into this year that is Pei Bet, right? We're in Tafshin Pei Bet. This is the most Mesugal time for this to be now, in this year of Pebet, where we should bring that inner space, that white space that seems to be empty, to fill it with the Shekhinah. When we fill it with the Shekhinah, that's when Mashiach is going to be able to come. And yeah, I just left out one very important thing. I just want to finish up, that this Kala, we said we're the Kala, the bride, right? Now, Kala also has the word Keli. They come from the same Lashon. Keli is a vessel. And there's a halacha that if you have a vessel and you fill it with some type of liquid or whatever it is that it's filled with, if this thing was treif, the whole Keli becomes treif. And if it's kosher, then the Keli is kosher. So you see that this Keli, this vessel, is really very, very deeply attached to what's inside. It actually becomes one with it. It's considered one. Whatever is inside is what the vessel itself becomes. It's what the Keli actually becomes. And you might think to yourself, who are we to, like, you know, Hashem needs us? Who are we to come, that we should come face to face? It's exactly what Hashem wants, especially at this time. It says in Hosea, Hashem says that, to Hashem, this is talking about the Yemot HaMashiach, this is talking about at the end of days. Hashem says, V'haya bayom hahu, it's going to be in that time. No'um Hashem, Hashem promises. Tikri'i ishi, I want you to call me Ishi, my man. V'lo tikri'i li od Bali. Don't call me anymore Bali. Bali means my master. It's like Bali is the lashon of Yira, of fear. There's a certain fear there of Bali, my master. It's almost as if we're the servant looking at our master. And Hashem says, I don't want that kind of relationship with you anymore. We're coming towards Mashiach now. I want you to turn around. Instead of it being a tshuva of Yira, I want it coming to you coming through to the tshuva of Ahava. What we're talking about here is this tshuva of Ahava. Coming to realize that we ourselves are a piece of Hashem, coming to realize we are his kala, he is our chatan. He wants us to come in this beloved place of what we just went through in Elul, ani ledodi v'dodi li, I am to my beloved and he is to me. It's not a joke. He really wants that kind of relationship. And he wants us to come with this ava, be'ava, loving him, with him loving us, and coming together into this oneness. May Hashem help us that we should get to this oneness very, very quickly, b'mehera, and see the Geula. It should be a year only filled with simcha and besurat tovot, refuat and Geulat and Yeshuat in every way.